this morning. Thank you everyone for joining in. I believe we are going to have an interactive session and a great one. You are great guys who have already charted their lives, or you are beginning a new chapter in your lives. After having completed your studies in high school, you are now moving on to the next level of your studies. And I believe that God is going to guide you. I've heard most of you have mentioned what they intend to go and do, what they intended to do and didn't work out. There's always an opportunity out there. Take your time, find out what you think is best for you. Take your time, see what works for you, see what is great for you as you move on to the next level of your learning. Now, somebody had mentioned that when we go to campus, we need to be responsible, see what works for us, see what is good for us. Today, we are looking at self-leadership, and self-leadership begins with you. Allow me to share just a minute. Can you be able to see that on your screens?
Not yet. Maybe somebody? It's coming. Not yet.
Okay. Not yet?
Yes, it is there.
Okay. So leadership, self-leadership begins with you. You as an individual. You are now, most of you are above 18 now, or all of you for that matter. You'll be alone most of your time in campus. And this is where we are saying it begins with you. What you are going to do in campus will begin with you. In terms of how you're going to manage your time, in terms of how you're going to manage attending your classes, in terms of how you're going to, what time you're going to bed, and so on. It begins with you. And before you even join campus, chances are you need to invest in yourself right now at home as you make that decision to join the campus of your choice or the college of your choice. It begins with you. What are you doing at home? When we began, most of you mentioned what they're doing. I had somebody say they're helping their parents and their siblings who are at home, which is very good. Maybe somebody else can put on the chat, just put on the chat. What are you doing at the moment when you are home? Very close there, there's somewhere where there's a chat. Just put your chat there. Probably we can see what you're telling us. Maybe Mentor Douglas can help me read the comments there. I can't see any yet. Just put your chat there.
Yeah. Just somebody tell us what you're doing currently at home, yeah.
Yeah, just put on the chat box. Okay, Justin is working somewhere to increase salary and savings. Okay, let's have some 2 or 3 more. Okay, as we wait for others to maybe tell us what they are doing at home, self-leadership is about the practice of understanding who you are. Who are you? Are you aware of who you are? What are your experiences? How are you relating with yourself? Most of the time we learn how to relate with people, but we also need to learn how to relate with ourselves. As we said at the beginning, it begins with you. How are you relating with yourself? Are you taking good care of yourself in terms of nutritionally? Are you eating well? Do you know what you want? Probably you want a particular size of body. Do you hit the gym? Do you take a walk? Do you run? It's being intentional in what you are doing and the determination in you. That is self-leadership. Now, self-leadership takes 5 areas. And the first one, which is very, very important, is self-awareness. Are you aware about yourself? And see Joy Masharia helping mom at workplace and trying out new cooking ideas. Awesome. So you need to be aware, what are you good at? Like Joy Masharia is good, already she knows that she's good at cooking. Paul says he's already making money. Wow. As you make money, employ the rule of saving. As a young person, you need to learn how to save now. In high school, you are given pocket money. Most of us used to just eat bread or wait for the funky days, and then we'd go and spend the pocket money that we have. Probably you never saved anything. It's important now that you learn to save. The saving culture is going to help you navigate campus life or college life successfully. So you need to be aware of yourself. To be self-aware is to have that strong sense of yourself. Who am I? That is a question we always ask ourselves. Who am I? And what is my purpose in this life? Then what is your motivation? What motivates you? When you wake up in the morning, what is your drive? What motivates you when you wake up in the morning? Personally, I enjoy reading a lot. And it's important to keep a positive attitude always. When you wake up in the morning, not all days will be bright and sunny. There'll be times that there'll be challenges that you'll come across. But how are you handling it? When you stay motivated, that is leadership. That is self-leadership. You'll be required to make decisions on how to budget on your food. I'm sure most of the time you will not be buying food. So most of the time you'll be making your own meals. Aside from that, you will still be needing to attend your classes. You need to budget your time. You need to budget your time. Those are decision making. You'll be making decisions on what meals I need to have, what I need to eat, the kind of clothing that I need to have. Yeah. Once you are self-aware, you have set a standard for yourself. And then you need to be dedicated to what you are doing. There are people who do so many things at the same time. At the end of the day, you end up being a jack of all trade and a perfecter of none. You need to prioritize. What are your priorities? What do you need to do before the next thing, and so on? And that brings us to the New Year resolutions that we make every year. What are your resolutions for this year? Maybe on the chat box, very quickly, you can write down Just write in one word, one of your decisions this year. Very quickly on the chat box. Kindly let's type on the chat box. Every year, as the year rolls out, we normally make resolutions. But if we don't stick to them, if we are not dedicated to them, we end up losing the track. And by the end of the year, when we come to have a check on what we have done the entire year, most of the time we realize that it was just a writing on a paper. Very well written in our diaries, in our journals, but most of the time we don't stick to it. Why? We were not dedicated to it from the word go. On our chat box, maybe one of the resolutions that you've made this year, apart from, of course, undertaking your studies in the next level. Probably you've had friends who have been toxic the past year. What are you doing about them this time? Somebody says you are as good as the company you keep. Tell me 5 of your friends and I'll tell the kind of character you are. As we wait for the comments there, we need also to be people of positive influence. Self-leadership calls for positive influence. Considering self-good energy, correct. This year, somebody has decided to have good self-energy. You decide that this year, I'm going to detox myself from some things that have been toxic in my life. Could be friends, as I said. Could be even relatives. Some relatives can really be toxic. Maybe somebody told you, you will not make it in life. But see, you have seen yourself on the other side of the fence. You have made it, and you're even moving on to the next level of your life. So you need to have positive energy. Self-leadership calls for positive energy. It calls for somebody to influence others positively. There's a picture there. Somebody tell us what you can see. Maybe you can unmute yourself and tell us what you can see.
Yeah, I know we can be able to interact, so let's give our feedback. Let's not keep quiet.
I'm Ida. I see sheep, a lot of sheep on the land. I see Jesus holding a lamb. I see vegetation, and I see the sky with clouds moving and the sun. Yes, that's all I see.
Wow, thank you, Ida. What do you think of Jesus? Ida?
I think of Jesus as my light and savior. Jesus being the one who died for my sins, and Jesus being the light to my, guiding me to my right path of life. Yeah.
Wow, awesome, thank you. Now, Jesus is known to have been a great leader by himself since birth. There was a time he even got lost in the temple when he was young, when they had gone with his parents to the temple. He disappeared, and when the parents realized that Jesus was not with them, they went back looking for him, only to find him in the temple preaching. So Jesus was a great leader. He is an example that we look up to, apart from anybody else or anything else that we can look up to. Probably in your life, Who are some of the people you admire as great leaders? Austin, Justin, sorry. Paul, Justin, kindly unmute, tell us about a leader you admire or a leader you think. I heard somebody, Titus is saying Barack Obama. Maybe Barack, tell us what inspires you in Barack Obama?
Okay,
Let's
most
make
of the
this
time,
session interactive. An icon. Title.
okay, mostly I'm usually not into this politics stuff, but when I look at Barack Obama, I see a great leader because of what he did for the United States, even though he was not originally a United States citizen. That's what inspires me about him. Thank you.
Thank you, Titus. Yes, Barack Obama was a great leader, and I believe he still is. He changed a lot of things in America, despite not having originally an American, but he changed the world. He made us even see the world in a different perspective. Ruthie? Caxton, I've not heard from you. Kindly unmute Caxton and tell us a leader that inspires you. Okay, maybe Caxton is not ready. Adrian, you've been here quite a long time, Adrian. Say hi and tell us a leader you really admire or who inspires you.
I can say my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he makes decisions even when he's under pressure. He doesn't rush towards something.
Oh, thank you, Adrian. Your inspiration is your father. You see a leadership in him, the decisions that he makes, even when he's under pressure. So we should be able to handle pressure well. How do we handle pressure? In campus, we'll be able to meet what we call the negative peer pressure. And even out here, before you join campus, we have negative peer pressure. Peer pressure doesn't affect the young people. Adults experience of peer pressure from our friends. We want to conform to what the society is giving us. There is a current trend that is going on. Everybody wants to live a flashy life. You have heard of wash, where people wash money, I don't know. And everybody wants to live a lifestyle, even beyond their means. And this is killing people. This is causing depression among the young people. It's causing pressure among the aged. It's causing pressure across the board. So self-leadership helps us handle pressure comfortably. No one has ever told you that you will have a smooth life. Jesus never had a smooth life himself. Despite being the Son of God, he experienced a lot. But because he had self-leadership, He had qualities in him that override the challenges that he went across. We will come across so many challenges. At the moment we have seen in the news, so many young girls being butchered. Probably one lady in the house can tell us what's your take. Joy Masharia. Yes, Joy, kindly unmute. Joy Masharia.
Yes. Kindly repeat the question.
Have you been following lately what has been happening? Joy.
Yes.
Have you been following what has been happening? There has been a trend on young girls being killed.
Yes.
What do you think might have caused that? What is your thinking, or what's your take, and what should be done? What's your advice to us, the young people?
Okay. According to what I know, some of the ladies are being killed because of the people they get themselves called sponsors. I don't know. That's my thinking.
Yes, Joy?
I'm saying what I what I think.
Okay, thank you, Joy. Carol, what's your take? And what is your thinking? What should be done? What is your advice to the young girls? Yes, Joy?
My advice would be I think it's best if one gets to work for their own money instead of using the
Thank you, Joy. She's saying that people should learn to work for what they want. Yes, Carol? Kindly unmute. Give us your thinking or your thoughts.
I think that what makes these girls like go to uh, these men is they're just greedy or something, and I think that females should learn to be independent. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get you very well, but it's fine. The other great leader in the Bible was Moses. All of us know of Moses, who was a great leader. He led the Israelites from the country of slavery into the country of the promise. As much as he didn't see the promised land, he was shown by God, but he never reached the promised land. But he was a great leader. There were times when the Israelites made noise. When he went up to the hill to pray, he always came back and found them having gone back to their own old ways of doing things and not trusting God. But Moses remained steadfast. The other great leader was Daniel. Daniel was a great leader. At the time when even the king of Babylon, that time Nebuchadnezzar, was a very tough leader, he still maintained his cool. He still did what was right before God. And he said that obedience is better than sacrifice. We read that from 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 22. So that obedience is a great mark of a great leader. So as a leader, as a person, as an individual, back at home, as you still wait to join the next level of your studies, you need to remain obedient. Obedient to your parents, obedient even to your younger siblings. Obedient to authority. Remember now, you are an adult. The decisions you make when you move out of the house, you should be able to calculate what time are you going to be home. Of course, you're above 18. You have your own decisions to make, but remember, if you don't obey the law of the land, chances are you'll find yourself in the wrong side of the law. The other great leader was David. As much as David had his own shortcomings, David was a great leader. David was a great leader. He had his own shortcomings, but still he remained steadfast. And this is a man, if you a man after his own heart. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, it says, "For the Lord sees not as the man sees, because the man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." When Samuel was sent to the house of Jesse to go and anoint a king, he went there, he found the sons, and couldn't find the right person to befit the king. When asked if they had any other son, David was out there in the field taking care of the sheep. When he was brought, Samuel could see leadership in him because God had already prepared him. So a great leader, you don't look at the outward appearance, but God instills a value in you. The value of obedience, the value of discipline, the value of managing your own time. The other leader was Paul. We know what Paul went through. He was preaching the gospel at a time when no one was interested even in hearing him, but he remained steadfast. He went through a lot of suffering, but still overcame what he was prepared to go through. Nehemiah was also a great leader. He faced all manner of obstacles, but he overcame the challenges because he was a great leader. Being able to build the walls of Jerusalem in 52 days, it was not an easy task, but still he overcame it. Great leaders are people also like the only female judge that we know of. We find this in Judges 17, verse 6. Deborah was a great leader. She made decisions that even people feared. She had a lot of courage to lead people into war. She trusted God in what she did. So self-leadership calls for us to trust in God in what we do. There'll be times you'll be going through a lot of challenges, peer pressure. Friends will be telling you, let's go for a hangout. Of course, you'll have your own reasons of not going. And they'll always push you and push you to the wall. There's a mentee, I follow up on her. She's at Strathmore University in her 4.5 year. And she tells me that there's a lot of pressure out there, even when you don't want to. If you say, I don't have clothes to go to party with, they'll bring you clothes. If you say you don't have money, they'll give you money. If you say you don't have a means, they have cars, they'll drive you to the event. A lot is happening out there. There's a lot of pressure. You'll experience that kind of pressure. Candice, most welcome. She has just joined us. Most welcome, Candice. There's a lot of pressure out there. Pressure to conform to what friends tell you. So as a leader, as a person, as an individual, because you are great leaders, those of you who have joined in this session, you have decided to chart a path that is different from other people. You have decided to have some form of leadership on yourself, even to take time to join this session this early morning. We don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. So leadership calls for self-discipline. Manage your time, see what time are you supposed to be home, or even when you're in campus, manage your time. You're doing your assignments. There are people who are always late on submitting the assignments, and some assignments have deadlines. Who unto you, especially if the online assignments are to be submitted online. Some just close. The system closes when it reaches that particular time. So you need to manage your time. You need a lot of self-discipline. Self-discipline away from your parents. Somebody said, doing things even when your parents are not seeing what you're doing. Why is it important to have self-discipline? If you have self-discipline, it's very easy for you to achieve your goals. Do you have your goals written down? What are your objectives? That by the end of this month, what will I have done? What are you good at? You put it down as a goal. You want to achieve a smaller size than you are now. You want to have read a book or two by the end of the month. Probably in your charts, maybe you can write for me. Your short-term goal. Short-term could be a month from now. Short-term could be 2 months from now, or by the end of the year. Somebody will say, by the end of the year, I want to have, by the end of 4 years, I want to have cleared my studies. I want to have achieved my degree. Somebody said, I want to achieve my degree and still go and do criminology. That is a goal. That is very achievable if you put it down and put it into practice. Maybe write on the comment section, on the chat. When you're self-disciplined, you resist temptations. As I've said, there is a lot of peer pressure, the negative one especially. And there's also positive peer pressure. I'm sure you experienced this when you're in high school. You had friends who made you work hard. And that's why you achieved the grade you achieved. That was a positive peer pressure. It also helps you build habits and positive habits. What are the bad habits that you have? Probably you snooze your alarm. Anytime it is ringing, you snooze it. Let me sleep a bit. There'll be times no one will be there to wake you up. You need to plan yourself. What am I going to do tomorrow? I have an upcoming assignment. I need to have finished my classes and assignments by Friday and maybe go home and see my parents over the weekend. I need to join the youth group in church. Take an active role. If you love singing, take an active role in choir. Maybe you know how to play a piano or a guitar. You build those habits. Once habits are built, they become your character. And once character is built, it forms your own integrity and it defines you. So what you build now, if you're a hardworking person, it builds and it becomes part of you. Even when you get into formal employment later in life, you'll not have a problem adjusting into the working environment. It helps you to manage your time well. It helps you to regulate your emotions very well. And it helps you to become healthy. When you're self-disciplined, you won't be binging on all the eateries. If you're self-disciplined, you will have a healthy timetable of when to exercise. Apart from your studies, apart from doing whatever you're doing, it is also good to keep fit. It's also good to eat healthy and also have what we call personal growth. Now, what are some of the things that develops our personal growth? One of them is detoxing our social media. Don't have everybody on your news feed. Don't follow everybody on the social media. How do you handle social media effects in your life? Do you just follow everybody? Are you ever on your phone from morning to evening? Do you watch series all through? For you to grow, you need to be realistic. You need to have goals that guide you. Tell yourself that I'm going to be reading a book once a month. I know reading culture is very difficult. Caxton, most welcome. Reading culture in Kenya is dying. Most of us are not good readers. And we are told that readers are leaders, or leaders are readers, whichever way you want to look at it. For you to be a leader, you must be a reader. The information is out there. It's there on the media, it's there. There are so many apps that you can install in your phone and read, even when you're in a public transport. When you're traveling somewhere and it's a distance, take your book and read. Could be a hard copy. Get a book that inspires you, apart from the novels, apart from the movies that you watch. Watch inspirational, motivational videos and audios. The YouTube is filled with a lot of information for us to consume. It is you as a leader to sieve the kind of information you require for your personal growth. I always challenge myself to read a book a week. If I'm not able to read a book a week, at least I'm able to read a chapter a day. That is personal growth. When you practice self-discipline, time and again, you become focused. So that when even friends come to tell you, let's go partying, let's do this. Yes, partying is good. Joining friends is good because human beings are social by nature. We are all social beings by nature. We need to interact with people. When you interact with people, you learn more. And of course, be a good listener. That is why we were given 2 ears, to listen more and to talk less. You have one mouth, talk less, listen more. When your goals are driving you, you'll be able to achieve what you want. You won't be acting on moods. You won't be acting on other people's timetable or program. You also learn to say no to unscheduled events. If somebody invites you to join them for something, probably on a trip, probably to attend a concert, if it wasn't in your schedule and it wasn't pre-planned, it is always important as a quality of self-leadership to say no. You know, in life nowadays, people hardly say no. We are very good at accepting everything that comes our way. What happens at the end? We end up fatigued. We end up not meeting deadlines that we have been given, maybe in our assignments or in our working environment. Like for those of us who are working, you can't be saying yes, yes, yes to everything. You got to have a time to reflect even on yourself. Know what you are worth and what you stand for. If what is being presented before you is not according to your purpose, is not according to your values, it is always advisable to say no. It's always advisable to stand for what you want. Let people know your personality. Let people know that you can say no, and your no means no, and your yes means yes. Let people know how much you can chew, because this brings a sense of fulfillment. Your relationship with others will also improve if you have self-discipline. People will know that you have boundaries. They know where to step into, they know where not to reach to, because they know what you stand for. Self-leadership and self-discipline helps you to save on time, because you have planned yourself, you have prioritized what I'm going to do. After this, I'm going to do the next thing. You plan yourself. You put your activities down. Of course, you have your focus. And eventually, you will even have time to relax. Recently, I was reading a book by Joyce Meyer called Overload. And she's talking about the kind of stress that people are going through. When you don't learn to say no, when you don't plan yourself well, you end up burning out. Instead of burning on, you burn out. And you hear of many people saying, I'm tired. Probably you've even had your older siblings or your parents saying when they arrived home, "Well, nimeisha, I am worn out, I am tired." It becomes very difficult for you to communicate even with your family very well. It becomes difficult for you to work with the people well. Even your peers in school, you will not be able to work well with them. When you don't plan yourself, you get overloaded, you get burnt out. Early to bed, it has always been a good policy. Early to bed, early to rise. You sleep at 9 or 10 latest, by 3 or 5, you are up and fresh to face the day. And of course, start your day. Good leaders are spiritual. Take some time in the morning when you wake up. Go through the Bible. Get a verse to listen in the morning that prepares you for the day. Even as you stay at home, as you prepare yourself to join the next level of your studies, it helps you plan yourself better. How do you begin your day? What do you wake up in the morning? What is the first thing that you do when you wake up? Very quickly on a pray. Thank you, Titus. Yes, let's have more comments coming in. Thank God, that is still a bit of prayer. I pray, then make breakfast for the family. Awesome, Ida. Thank you, Caxton. Yes, let's have our comments. Probably your prayer. How do you end your day? How do we end our day? When the day ends, when you look back to what you have done during the day, how do you end your day? Personally, I sit, I have a reflection on what I have done during the day. How much have I been able to do? Have I achieved what I intended to do that day? Of course, before praying and going to bed. You need to take some time and reflect. What have you done that day? When you began the day after prayers, you need to write your day's activity. What do I intend to do today? I'm visiting this office. I'm doing this application. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to make lunch and such like things. Have a journal. And then at the end of the day, reflect. You wrote in the morning that I will call so and so. Did you call that person? You wrote in your journal that you are going to visit somebody who is sick in the hospital. Did you make that? If you didn't, reflect. What are you going to do differently tomorrow? That helps you become a better leader. Leadership begins with you. Before you lead other people, you got to lead yourself. We got to have fruits of the Holy Spirit. And my concern is on self-control. You control what comes in. It is you. Somebody said, there is a book written by somebody, Thranira Mudhaura. He said, the book is called Password. And he says in his book that our heart is the gate pass to our life. What do you allow into your heart? And before you allow anything into your heart, what do you allow into your mind? What are you consuming? The fruits look beautiful. And that is why we encourage in Galatians 5:22 to take fruits more often. Not just the physical fruits, but the fruits of joy, peace, love, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. It should be in our diet every day. After the fruits, now the gifts will be seen in us. Like the fruits now, these are the gifts. The fruits are being born now into the gifts, the various gifts that you are going to have. You're going to be a doctor. You are going to be a nurse. You're going to be a speaker. You're going to be a comedian. These are gifts that are manifested in us when we consume the right fruits in our lives. The Bible is very clear on directions on what we need to do as leaders. Proverbs 3:11-12 says, "My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline and do not resent his rebuke." The Lord will rebuke us. There'll be times that God will rebuke us when we don't do the right thing, when we don't tell the truth, when our character is questionable, when our values have gone down. The Lord will rebuke us because the Lord disciplines those whom he loves. Adrian, read for us Proverbs 13:24. I made it easier for you. It's on your screens.
Proverbs 13:24, it says, "Whoever spares the rod hates their child, but the one who loves their child is careful to discipline them."
Thank you. Our parents discipline us. We are still under our parents' care. When they rebuke you, why are you coming late? Why are you not doing the assignments you are doing? Why are you not managing your time well? Why are you oversleeping? Sometimes we feel that parents are nagging. But our parents remain parents. The Bible is very clear that parents have a reason to do what they are doing to us. They remain our parents. Self-leadership calls for listening to our parents. Listen to this. I found this somewhere. When we are 5 years old, we say, "Mommy, I love you." When we are 13, we say, "Mom, whatever." When we are 16, we say, "Mom is so annoying. Oh, mother Nabo. Do this, do that." When we are 18, we say, "Phew, I want to be out of this house. It sucks." When we are 21, we say, Mom, you are right. Now life is hitting hard on you at this time. Don't wait for that to happen to you. When we are 30, we say, I want to go to Mom's house. Now you're missing the same parents you are saying they were annoying at 16. At 16, you used to say, Mom is so annoying. Ah, Mom, I want to be out of this house. I'm 18 years old. I can take care of myself. Come on. When we are 50, we say, my Mom, I don't want to lose you. Now she has grown old. Diseases have started coming in, the lifestyle diseases and age diseases, blood pressure, diabetes, probably even stroke has set in. She's aging. She's no longer as beautiful as you used to see her, and you never saw that. At 50, that is what we say. I don't want to lose you, because you are seeing her going back to where she came from, of course, her maker. When we are 70, we say, I would give up everything to have my mom. 70, probably your parents are already dead by then. But you will be wishing the good, you will be missing the good moments, the times that you shared. Look at how your mom used to cuddle you when you're young. Look at how they visited you in school. Yeah. Look at the places they took you on trips, on vacations, the advice they gave you. Now they are no more. They are no longer with you. And you say you wish things would come back to the way they were. So it is biblical. Whoever spares the rod spoils the child. But the one who loves their child is careful to discipline them. So accept discipline while you are still under your parents' care. Even for us who are adults, when you go back to our parents, we remain our parents' children, and we listen to what they say. If my mom tells me to cook a meal for her, I will. If she tells me to run some errands, run to the shop, bring this, do that, and you can imagine I'm over 40, heading to 50, I'll still do that, because they remain our parents. Discipline is key. No one, discipline may not seem pleasant at the time that is being administered. I know in school you used to hate the math lessons and some lessons that are a bit tough by the teachers. But I'm sure you appreciate now the grade that you scored because of what the teachers instilled in you. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 17, verse 7. Carol, very quickly, we are almost winding up.
Second Timothy chapter. For the Spirit of the God gives us, does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline.
Thank you. The spirit that the Lord gives us is not a spirit of timid. Timid is fear, but gives us the spirit of power. When we look up to God for direction, he gives us power. Power to have control over the things we allow into our life, power to say no to things that are unhealthy to our life, power to love people who will love us back, like our family members and our good friends, and power to have self-discipline. Titus, read for us Proverbs 12, verse 1.
Proverbs 12 verse 1, it says, New International Version, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid.
Thank you. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge. Waking up to come and listen to me this morning is just a form of discipline, because you know what you want to get. You are getting some knowledge that is going to help you navigate this life as a young person, as a young adult. But whoever is hating that, me, I don't want to join it. Me, I don't want to go to the youth seminar. that is considered stupid according to the Bible. Proverbs 3 verse 1 and 2 says, my son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will bring many more years and bring you prosperity and peace. So if you follow the teachings and the commands of God, we shall live long. Like we are advised in Ephesians, that we need, children, obey your parents, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise, that we may live long in the land that the Lord is giving us. This is a fulfillment in what was said in Proverbs, that if we hold on to the Lord's teaching, apart from what we are doing, take some time and read the word of God. Get to see what is God telling us in this life. In fact, the Bible is the best manual that you can ever have. For your more read, we'll also be sharing some of the readings and some of the parts that we have mentioned on self-leadership and self-discipline. Back to you, Mentor Douglas. Maybe some questions, Mentor Douglas.
Right, thank you. Let's give some flowers to Mentor Tina. You can do some flowers and just show appreciation to her, as she led us well.